Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's awesome and wonderful and so fun. It's with Misty Roegels from Roegels Barbecue in Houston, Texas. And I've been trying to talk to Misty for a couple of years now, and we finally got it together, and the timing is perfect. So there's two main reasons why I wanted to talk to Misty. Number one was to get to know her, and in turn, y'all, you all could get to know her, and that was important to me. And then also, their new Katy location, which is opening up maybe mid-December-ish, maybe next year. I wanted to get the details on that. It's exciting. It's really exciting, really interesting. She goes into depth in that. We kind of go all over the place because there's a lot that's gone on in the last few years. They built a home during the pandemic. They went on a road trip through the South to a bunch of whole hog places to get inspired and learn about whole hog. And they do whole hog, not often right now, but they will be doing it at the Katy location as well as the Houston location. We also get into the fact that they've upgraded their sausage program. They went to the sausage sensei Bill Dumas and they took a class. Misty hasn't taken the class yet. She wants to. I want to take the class someday too. You should definitely check that out. It'd be well worth it. So their sausages look just awesome, and those sausages will be at the Katy location. The Katy location will be open afternoons and evenings, open until about 8 o'clock. They have a full liquor license. They'll be sandwich heavy. They'll be doing all their sandwiches, which are available now 1 day a week. They'll be available every day at the Katy location, which will be great for a lunch crowd. It'll be perfect. They'll also have other items on the menu that aren't in the Houston location. That's kind of nice. They'll have everything that's in Houston, but then have a lot more things. So it'll be a creative opportunity, and it's something that she can work on from scratch. So it's her baby, and it's going to be really exciting. And if you want to follow along on their social media. That way you could see the build out, and you could see when they're going to open. They'll also be hiring for this, so if you are interested in working for Regals, I would shoot Misty or Russell a DM. That way you get on the list. But at the end, I'm just so excited that she sat down with me. I just got a chance to know her and got a chance to learn what makes her tick and why she's so passionate. She's been in the barbecue business for 20 years. And she knows a lot, and she's seen a lot, you learn more about their relationship and how they got involved with Texas A&M, and that's just there's so much, so much. Thank you, Misty, for taking the time. I know you guys are gonna really enjoy this. Again, at the beginning in the YouTube version, there's a number of photos. There are photos from their social media, some from Misty, and then there's also some from Kelly Yandel from Kelly Yandel Photography. It'll be noted on the specific photos, so I can't thank her enough for providing those photos. You guys are going to dig this. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com. If you're enjoying these, please subscribe. That way you don't miss out. At the end, as I always say, stay safe and visit your local barbecue joint. I definitely want to make sure that we do touch a lot on the new place in Katy because that's extremely exciting, and I'm sure stressful, exciting, and all that.
You probably have seen all the cleaning I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I've really bonded with that store lately.
So
It
cool.
it so it was the backstory is it was a cowboy chicken.
Really?
And
For people that might not know, what is a cowboy chicken?
they're a franchise out of Dallas.
Okay.
And or I guess they're in the Dallas Fort Worth area
Okay.
mainly. And it was rotisserie chicken. Like they cooked all their chickens on a rotisserie.
Okay.
That's all it was. They had side dishes, and then you could get like half chickens or whole chickens. They had chicken enchiladas, like chicken tortilla
Huh.
soup, anything you can do with chicken.
Was
They
was it
made.
was it a lot of? Do people get a lot to go business from this place?
We never ate there. We always drove by it, and we were because we live out. The store is 11 minutes from the house.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you. I thought that it was closer. I thought you guys
Oh
lived
yeah,
closer to this because you had
11.
looked at a bunch of different locations. I think I read that from Greg or from JC or something.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's 11 minutes from the house. So
Oh, that's so
e
great.
every time we were out that way, we're like, "Oh, we should stop in," and we never did. It was 2 partners, one a real estate guy, one a restaurant guy. They got crossways. The restaurant
Ah,
guy left, and, the real estate guy, I guess he tried to run it for a little bit, but it just he ended up closing it up and just
well,
walking away. So we inherited when we signed the lease, we got all the tables and chairs in there and all the equipment. I mean, there's a deli case. There was like 2 warmers and 2
ah,
convection ovens, and there's already 2 sinks. And I mean, and
That's
ice maker,
perfect.
and like,
That
and
makes
we're
it so much easier, or at least
it
those
does,
steps.
and it's already built out. And so where the rotisserie is, I'm sure you've seen a picture where we took that wall down.
Yeah.
So we took the rotisseries out, and we use Bewley's, A and Bewley.
Yeah.
They're building us a rotisserie pit. So this will
Oh,
be, yeah, and it's what Russell learned on to cook, and
and
when he
bodacious.
was at Bodacious.
Okay.
So he learned on a rotisserie. We've just never had one. We have flat pits. So they're building us a big one, and Larry's son Luke, he was like, I think this is the biggest rotisserie we've ever built.
That's good. That's
So
great.
it's gonna be a beast of a pit. So we're looking forward to get that in there. But it's already got the vent hood, and our friends own a commercial AC heating refrigeration company, and so before we signed the lease, we had Tony come over, and his guys, they went all through it, and he said, "Man, this thing's good. You're
Oh,
good."
really? So that's because that's
Yeah.
important. Because I know
So
that
we were like, okay,
he just
because
had some
trying to
issues.
get that built out right now, and Venahoods, stainless steel, everything. There's just a shortage of everything. There's a shortage of
Of the people
equipment.
doing it.
Russell went and saw a piece of equipment he wanted at Best Budget, and he was like, "Okay, I need this," and he said, "But I got to go back and measure." When he went back, it was already sold.
Really, by that
So
time.
yeah, so the guy was like, "If you see a piece of equipment here," he was like, "Go ahead and buy it. Put your name on it."
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah,
it's like it's that. See, that's I don't think anyone, and I say that often in these interviews. I don't think anyone understands it because we all don't understand what people are dealing with on so many different levels. Well, that's and how can you put like your name on something if you don't even know if it's gonna fit in something?
I know.
You have to roll the dice, I guess, and know mentally.
Yeah, and if you buy it and it doesn't work, then you
Yeah.
take it back. But I mean, you kind of have to do that right now, or it's you're gonna be scratching your head, going, "What am I doing now?"
Yeah. How long have you guys been looking? Because I want to go back to your backstory too, because I want people to know who you are and how this whole thing is unfolded. But how long have you been looking for? A couple years first? Like, was it in the back of your mind we need a second location or what we
So,
want?
so I stepped foot in on Voss when I was 23 years old, and I'm 43 now.
Ah, wow,
Yeah,
you look
I
good
hit
for
20
43.
years. I know, right? I hit 20 years this summer in the barbecue business, and
That's a good amount of time.
yeah, and we always kind of kicked around the idea, hey, maybe we'll open up another place, and then but we had two small kids, and I was like, I can't imagine having
Yeah.
multiple restaurants and these two small kids, and we're like, well, maybe when they get a little older, and they got older, and we were still like, nah, we're not ready yet. We kind of Houston's such a oil and it's oil and gas driven,
Yes.
and so we've rode the wave of when times are good and when times are bad. And,
Interesting.
we were looking, and then, the bottom fell out, and we're like, okay, now is not the time,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so then we changed our name from Baker's to Regal's December of 2014.
Okay. That was 7 years ago. So 13 years in,
Yeah.
you were working at it was a baker's rib that yeah.
Yes. And it was funny the day I had a checklist, and I'm like, okay, if we're gonna change our name, I need to get new shirts and new hats and new business cards and new menus, and we need to get a logo made. Well, Russell made a logo on, the program Keynote.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that
twenty
a
dollar
presentation
twenty
program?
dollar app, and he put Regals on there. I don't have it on. He put Regals on there, and it's red, white, and black shirt, and with like a circle around it. And he was like, "That's good." Called Fast Signs. I need this sign. I need this sign made. And I was like, "Okay." Well, they called. It got ready sooner, and I think they called like on a what was it, like a Tuesday or something.
Uh-huh.
And Russell was like, "I'm going to get the sign." And I said, "Oh, okay, we'll just store it." And he was like, "No, I'm putting it up." And I was like, "But I have a list." I was
We got to listen.
like, "We don't have hats, we don't have shirts, we don't have business cards, we don't have menus." He was like, "I don't care." And I was like, "You're killing me, man."
Wow. So
So
is that sort of like what he's not impulsive, but he's just like if he wants to do
oh, he's
something, he just does it.
impulsive. He's
Oh,
impulsive.
he's impulsive too. Okay, then it's a combination. I think a lot of us we want to do stuff, but there's certain people that take.
He's impulsive and he's impatient and he wants it done right then. And
And you're a
so,
list person.
and
You're
I'm
a
very like, okay, we need to take these steps first before we do this. And so he went and got the sign, and we had a van, a commercial catering van. He pulled it up to the sign, hopped up on the van, had the guys behind us. There's a hand car wash behind us. And he had those guys come over. They
That's
helped him
funny.
get the sign down, and he was putting the sign up, and a guy he went to high school with just happened to be walking up, and he yelled at me. He was like, "Hey Jeff, get over here, help me put the sign up." So they got the sign up, and this was like during business hours. So people walked into Baker's Ribs and they walked out of Roegels Barbecue.
Wow. But for people that might not know, this was you guys had it was a franchise, but you
Yeah.
guys were doing your own thing. You guys were
Well,
essentially, weren't you kind of like at
no,
least
we weren't always doing our own thing.
okay.
We followed by the franchise rules
Mhm.
until Russell met Dr. Jeff Sable.
Ah.
And he met him that was April of 2014. It was
Okay.
at the first Houston barbecue festival we did.
Okay.
And he met them. He met Jeff and Davey and Ray, and then he heard about the summer barbecue camps they did. And Russell was like, "I really want to come," and they were like, "Well, it's sold out." And Russell came home. He goes, "I'm going. Somehow I'm going." He emailed and he badgered Jeff. Oh my God, bless his heart. He was like, and Jeff finally, I think, threw in the towel and was like, "Well, just come on and we'll figure it out. We'll put you to work." And then ever since then, it's just been a wonderful relationship, friendship with them.
Those guys
Like
are so great. And it seems like I don't know, we don't know each other. We just kind of know each other through other, but I think I know you a lot because I see you and Russ like at
right,
all the
right.
pictures from camp and things like that.
Yeah. So but that first semester at A&M, they have a freshman barbecue class. It's called Barbecue 101.
Mhm.
And if you look, there's like 800 of these little freshman classes or something like that. And it's designed to put freshmen together so they can meet other people. And so they just happen to have a barbecue one. And that first semester, Russell was there every Friday. I think Ray Raleigh told him, he was like, "Russell's been here more than some of the students have been here."
That's probably true.
But he learned a lot. Even in those freshman classes, he learned a lot. We put lamb chops on our menu because of that class. Russell was like, saw how they did it, tasted the product. He was like, "Well, I think we might do this." And I put collard greens on my menu because his wife, Jackie, Jeff's wife, Jackie, she makes the side dishes to go with the barbecue for the freshman class. And she had greens. And I told Russell, I was like, I like these. I'm going to put them on my menu. And I, tinkered with them and everything. And
you were still at Baker's Ribs at the time.
No, we were Regals at that time.
You had switched over.
Yeah, but we had always followed what the franchise wanted us to do. But when we met them and Russell saw a new way, and he was like, "I like this way better." And the franchise really didn't like that.
Okay, okay. I remember him telling, but I didn't know all those nuances of how exactly.
He changed it. He actually, the first time we put brisket out was seasoning on it. That we tried it with salt and pepper, a mix and everything. Daniel Vaughn walked in. We were still making ribs. And Russell was like, "Are you serious? Like the first day I try this out, he's gonna walk in."
Of
and
course.
he liked it, but the franchise did not. They didn't want us to do that. And Russell tried to talk to him about updating things and changing things, and they just wanted to do it how they've always done it, which is fine.
Which is how a lot of franchises are.
Yeah, but we were just going in a different direction. So we just but we had been operating for 2 years without a contract.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we were just kind of like, do we stay? Do we go? we didn't say, they didn't ask us to resign. We didn't ask to resign, and we just kind of left it alone until we figured out.
Time went on, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
and then so we finally were like, okay. But it was rough, man, when we changed to Regals. The area we're in, they don't like change.
Yeah.
And we were hurting pretty bad.
Were people coming in and then just walking out because they were upset that it was
Well, like we had one guy come in and he like slowly walked down and he kind of, put his head around the corner and he was like, okay, y'all are still here. And he was like, okay. And we kind of told him about what was going on. And he goes, okay, I'll tell my parents, y'all are still here. It's okay for them to still come.
but like,
They
what would you?
didn't
What would
like
you?
change. They didn't like change. They didn't know
Yeah.
anything. And we had people like 2 months later come in and they were like, oh, y'all are still here. We were like, we thought it was a totally new place. And we're like, well, it is, but it's still us,
Yeah.
and
That's an interesting thing to like make that work properly, because I think across Texas, a lot of people don't like change. Maybe it's United States, but it seems like with barbecue places, people get stuck in their ways. Like they just
well,
want.
I mean, some of our customers come in, like we see them walking up, we can fix their plate of food and they can pay and get it. Like they don't deviate. They get the same thing every single time. We can't
Yeah.
get them to try anything different, and they don't like it when it's changed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you guys haven't, like, in the last few years, it's you guys have added things, but you still,
Oh,
someone, any customer that has been coming for many years can still get that. And it's nice that you guys know that person and you can just go probably just get it going
you
really
have a
quick.
guy who's probably been eating in the store for 20 years, and every Saturday he gets a chopped beef sandwich and a bag of chips and a drink.
Sounds like a Texan.
That's all he ever gets. And he'll order like bulk food and stuff because they have a house in Galveston and they'll take, food down there. But well, when he comes in on Saturdays, it's same thing: chopped beef sandwich, chips, and a drink.
I love that. It's just so classic. Like it sounds like my dad or when he was alive. Like what he didn't want, he could eat at the same restaurant 3 times a week, and my mom would be like, we can go. There's other places we could go, but he just was like creature of habit. But now
Well,
okay,
yeah, but they probably know him. They know what he
they
likes,
love that.
and it's familiar to him. And some people like that. Some people like going where I guess Russell and I are kind of that way. We have our kind of haunts that we go
Yeah,
to. We like the chefs or the owners, and we like to go in there and talk to them. And
it's like coming to someone's house. It
yeah,
really, it makes it more. It takes away from the, like, the vagueness of a restaurant, like where you don't know who anybody is there and there's turnover all the time. With the name, did people have a lot of trouble? Because I never
oh
asked
yeah,
Russell
oh,
pronouncing it,
people
or
still can't pronounce it.
like to this day people say Roegels or
Yeah, well, we get a lot of Roegels, Roegels, and some people are just like, "How do you say it?" I can't even, And I tell them, they were like, "Oh, okay," and I'm like, "I was married into it. I didn't, you know."
did you pronounce
But
it
I
correctly the
always
first time?
know when somebody's calling me and I don't want to talk to them because they can't pronounce my name.
Yeah, yeah, they're like it's a solicitor, for sure that it's a.
Yeah.
So wait, when did you and Russell meet? Was it 20 years ago?
Okay, so
Longer than that, right?
so let's see. My parents were friends with Janie and Gary Adams, and they owned a bodacious
Okay.
in Longview. Gary was Nancy Lindsay, Roland Lindsay's wife.
Okay.
They were brother and sister.
Oh.
And so my parents became friends with them. And then Russell, actually, they lived on Lake Cherokee, and Russell lived probably about a mile and a half up the road. And I don't know how they actually met. I think through their kids or something. So they were always down at the house. We were always down at the lake house. I didn't really know him. I mean, you're talking, I'm like sixth grade here. Okay.
Okay.
There's a picture somewhere. I need to find that picture. My mom may have it.
I would love
We
to see.
all went to Lake Caddo to eat catfish. And there's a whole bunch of us, and we're all standing there. And I'm at one end, and Russell's at the other end holding my toddler brother.
Holy
And
you.
yeah. I'm in sixth grade. He's already like graduated.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, he was a couple of weeks away from heading off to boot camp.
Okay. And so you grew up in Longview or outside of Longview?
Yeah, I actually graduated from White Oak High School, which is like a little town outside of Longview. When I mean outside of Longview, I'm talking like 5 minutes outside of Longview.
What was that like growing up in Longview or outside of 5 minutes outside of Longview?
It was small town, you know. If we wanted to do anything, we had to go to Longview.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool. It's totally different than what my kids have experienced
for
here.
sure.
We didn't have all these freeways and when I first started driving here in Houston, and I was like, how are my kids ever going to learn how to do this? I can barely do this.
And that was back in the day. Imagine
Yeah,
now. It's-
yeah. And so it's just a different things are slower, and everybody knows everybody.
yeah.
Like literally everybody knows everybody there. So
And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, right?
yeah, and
I didn't grow up in a small town.
yeah, my mom worked at the courthouse and for the district clerk's office, and then my dad was a barber. So between them two, they literally
Oh,
knew everybody.
everybody. Well, that's so funny.
I
Those
was
were
like, I
two
couldn't get
jobs.
away with anything because if they didn't work with them, or, if my dad didn't cut their hair, my mom didn't work with them, my dad went to school with them.
Oh,
It seems
that's
like my
hilarious.
dad
Okay.
can go anywhere without running into somebody he knew. So
There's something nostalgic about it, and it's a lot of people, and most people that watch these and listen to don't live in towns or haven't grown up in places like that, and that's something unique to take from. Like now you're in the big city, essentially, or right outside the big
yeah,
city.
and Lance and Boo, they moved to Fredericksburg, and she's never lived in a small town.
Ah,
She
interesting.
she lived in Seoul, and living here in Houston, she was like, I have never experienced small town. And I was like, well, get ready.
Yeah,
I was like, it's totally different speed, mentality, but they seem to like it up there. But
I kind of,
I don't think I could move to a small town now after living here for so long.
it's funny.
I
I think maybe because I've lived in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is just massive, and LA County. I'm in the San Fernando Valley, and they wanted to leave LA County for, but it's I kind of I would love to live in a small town, but I probably would get there and just go crazy. Maybe I don't.
you kind of pick like a
The
town that
medium.
is accessible to a big city.
That's true.
And I
That's a good
think
point.
that's what we've talked about when we retire. If Russell doesn't have us living in a shack on the beach somewhere, but
Which could happen. How also too, like I have a million questions for you because there's a lot it's to go with. What was your path then? Were you looking to what did you want to be when you grew up? When you all grew up, what
I,
was your dream?
I don't really think I ever had one. I think I was going to school. Then I I had a full time job, and then Russell and I got married, and then a little bit later I had Drake. So I didn't finish, college.
Yeah.
Russell got finished up his associate's degree, and we were kind of like, okay, what do we do next? Do I go back to school, or And then the baker's ribs came up for sale, and Russell said, I really want to do this, and I was like, well, let's go do it. So I think his dream just kind of became my dream.
Yeah, which happens all the time. That's
And,
and that's
I was fine with it, but and then yeah, I haven't really wanted to do anything, I guess, other than this. I think that's why I'm so excited about the Katy location,
mhm.
because I'm there so much right now. I'm gonna be there so much. I feel like kind of it's gonna be my baby.
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's I bet this is at the end after this is over, that'll be your calling. It'll be something that you'll have found that was something so special for you.
yeah, and it's gonna be we gotta once we get it all cleaned up and everything, then we'll sit down with the menu and everything. It's gonna be totally different than Voss.
Yeah, well, let's talk about what you guys serve now, and then I also wanted to know because you guys built a house in the middle of all this, right?
I'm in my bedroom right now.
Ah, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's a nice headboard too. How did you was that fun or was that stressful or was that
I wanted to pull my hair out, and then so we signed to because we built in like a subdivision, right? And so we signed in December of 2019.
right before something?
Yeah, and we wanted this lot because it was an oversized lot and it was in a cul-de-sac.
Perfect.
Well, the cul-de-sac, it wasn't open to put to reserve a spot yet. So, but she told us it was opening up soon, and she said, "You have 24 hours to get here to put an escrow money down." So
Oh,
well, we went to New York between Christmas and New Year's, December of
yeah, yeah.
2019. Came back sicker than a dog too. While we were there, she called, and we just happened to leave a blank check with her, a signed check with our agent, and we were like, fill it out, we want that. She was like, the lot you originally wanted was taken. We were like, okay, we want the lot next to it. And I'm glad we ended up with this lot. And but man, trying to get approved for a home loan during a pandemic, being self-employed, having taken PPP money and
Oh yeah.
EIL money, and going through the VA
Oh,
because
that's true. Yeah, because of
yeah,
Russell. Yeah.
and it was a nightmare. They wanted everything, and I was like, do they want blood? Do we
Yeah, there's
give them
essentially,
blood?
yeah. A little
At
part of
one
my
point,
soul.
Russell sent a piece of paper to him. He was like, I don't know what else I can give you. He was like, I've literally given you everything. We had to call our CPA and get, she had to write a couple of letters, and it was a mess trying to do this. And I talked to a realtor who sold our other house, and they did a refinance, and he's also self-employed, and he was like, I've never come across some of the things that they wanted.
Wow. Do you think it was just because it was so uncertain or
Well,
something?
I think because everybody was, there was a lot of layoffs, and they just wanted to make sure, they wanted to see our financials and just make
Yeah.
sure everything was still stable. I remember the loan officer that we were working with, he actually came in for lunch, and he told Russell, he was like, look, he was like, I know we already got stuff from you. He said, but we're probably going to end up asking you for updated stuff now. They just wanted to see that our sales, you know, what our sales have done and everything. Did they
That had to put you guys under a lot of stress because
At one point, Russell was on the phone with our loan officer, and I'm yelling in the background, "Just I don't want the house anymore. Just
oh,
forget it," And he's
oh,
going, we're so close." And I was like, "I'm not even enjoying the experience now. I'm just done with it."
oh,
And I wanted to let it go. I told Russell, I was like, maybe we don't need to take this on right now. Maybe because I don't know, shoot, we could have been closed up shop. I mean, that was the thing about it. Nobody knew anything.
mm.
Nobody knew
It was the
anything.
weirdest time.
And there was no answers. And Russell said, we're in this for 2 years. He said, if you take a look at everything, he said it's about 2 years. He said, we're in this for about 2 years. And I thought we were going to be to go only for 2 years. Shoot, I didn't know. Nobody knew.
No, no,
I
no.
didn't know. And but it all worked out. Now I'm really happy that he went ahead and Russell pushed to do this, because golly, the house is going now. I mean, the real estate is it's ridiculous
So
right
it's yeah, it's worth it for that reason, and also walking in the first time. What was that like too? Was that a great feeling to
now. It
smell,
was.
smell
It
a
was.
brand new house? Like it's just so cool. Like it's
Yeah,
a new car.
I kind of thought we'd be in our other house, which is nothing wrong with it. It was 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's 1,600 square feet. It did us fine. But walking in through here, I was like, oh wow. Then we added the pool, and did the backyard, and
You enjoy. It seems like I see photos and things from the pool, so you guys do enjoy that.
this summer, I don't think a day went by unless we were out of town that we did not get in the pool.
That's nice,
Yeah,
especially.
and
Yeah.
it was just, we both love the water anyway. So, I kind of thought our kids would use it more. Well, Tori was gone this summer, but Drake worked, but they got it in a few times, but mainly it's just me and Russell. So
That's cool. Hey, and that's nice, and it's nice now with the adding you're adding a new place, like the new location. It'll be nice to come back to somewhere relaxing, hopefully. And
oh
I
yeah,
feel like
we have a sun shelf on the pool, and I sit on that sun shelf all the time. Or I'll just get in it and walk back and forth just to be walking on some water, and kind of calm down from the day and everything.
That's
So
great. No, I didn't know what a sun shelf was until HGTV, like watching so much during the pandemic, like
you know what?
watching
Me
people.
neither. I was like, I've never seen one of those. And I guess it's, back then when you went to your friend's house who had pools, they didn't, that wasn't a thing then.
No, it wasn't a thing, or
They had
even
a
before.
diving board. They had that horrible, horrible,
Really
like
awful about
death
the
trap.
about the break. Yeah, about or like a slide that was like really hot and you'd stick out, like you'd have to put a
Yeah.
hose over because it was awful as a kid.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, but yeah, it's been great. We've really enjoyed it, and I kind of we built the house to entertain, but I was like, we can't really have anybody over. And then,
Sure.
because of social distancing and people just weren't doing
Mhm.
any gatherings or anything. So, but hopefully that changes like
It
this
will.
season and to have people over and everything.
And
So.
moving forward and like into 2022, it's just going to get better and better. And let's talk first. Well, but we had talked about, and like I get tangential, and it looks like you do too, a little bit. So you had driven by this place a number of times, or was it something that you had thought about? Like how did you come
Well, we
upon?
looked at
Because there's a couple of places, right?
Tori graduated in May.
Mhm.
We always said we would not open a second restaurant until the kids had graduated high school.
Okay.
So she graduated in May, and we actually started looking in March, I think. And I don't know if you're familiar with Houston.
A little more than I was
So if
many
you're
years ago.
driving down I-10, like towards San Antonio,
Mhm.
there's a street called Eldridge. And it's like Eldridge, it's after the Beltway. And they call that the Energy Corridor. We were kind of looking down there because there's, Shells down there and BP, and there's a lot of businesses down there.
Mhm.
But we looked at one place on Dairy Ashford and Memorial, and we went in there, and I was like, really, this isn't the spot for us. It was hard to get to, and we just were like, no. And then we saw some other places, and every place that was available, it was so small, like really small. And I was like, this ain't gonna work.
No.
There wasn't room out back for a pit room, and I was like, it's not gonna work. And Russell actually went and looked at a place in Bel Air.
Huh.
And we were like, he liked the neighborhood and everything. And he said the building just needed updating. He called about it, but somebody had already leased it. And then we looked at a place even closer to our house on Barker, but somebody had already leased it too.
Wow.
So it had been a perfect place. But then our agent sent us this cowboy chicken, and Russell called me. He goes, hey, I'm going to look at this cowboy chicken. And I was like, oh yeah, I know that place. It's over on I-10. I was like, I said, I didn't know it was closed. I didn't know it was still open, and I didn't know it was closed, if that makes sense. We drive by it,
Yeah.
just
You just
you
don't know what it is.
and it wasn't, we didn't even think about it. But he went and kind of peeked his head in, and he goes, I think we're gonna look at this location. So we met the broker for the place over there and walked in, and Russell's like, this will work, this can work, we can make this work. And we kind of didn't, we'd always thought we'd open up in Katy, but so many places had opened in Katy. We were kind of like, maybe we don't want to do Katy, but this place came up, and Russell was like, no, this is where I want to be.
Yeah, and
And
you guys stand alone. You guys are different than everyone's different than everyone else too.
yeah. And then so we signed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess we got a second restaurant now, kind of, it's still kind of things, we're cleaning it right now. And so it just still kind of doesn't feel like you have a second restaurant. It's just something I'm, going to clean right
Like
now.
like a project, like someone said, like come fix this place up for us. But is it going to be called Regel's
It's just
Katy?
Regal's Barbecue.
Oh, great! So it'll be just Regel's Barbecue.
Yeah, Regal's Barbecue, Katy. But I mean, it's a great space. It really is. It's a great space. The way it's already laid out is perfect for us. You walk in and you go around the half wall, so the line's separate from the eating area, which is great.
Yeah.
They left the outside tables and chairs, so we have that. We just have to get umbrellas for it. And
That's nice. There's outside seating too.
yeah, so it's just a lot of cleaning. I don't think they clean. I mean, I really I was like, I don't think, I mean, there was dust and, cobwebs, and that's just because it's been sitting empty. But I'm
Yeah.
like, once you got into the equipment and everything, I was like, did they not clean? Did they not
Well,
do
and you know what a restaurant should be like.
this?
Once you've worked at a restaurant, yeah, you realize
And
how
it's,
much.
yeah, and it was so funny. A guy stopped by. He's a customer of ours, but he lives out in Katy, and he was like, I see your pictures, and he said, I'm just so sad I hate here. He was like, I was like, what is that?
But I think you know what, it's like a dirty restaurant secret. Like if you watch those, even though they're like sensationalized, where those shows where the guy goes in and fixes up restaurants, but there's a lot of restaurants. Like I've worked at restaurants, some of them are not so clean or not so diligent in cleaning certain things, and or like refreshing certain oils or doing. It's kind of sad and
Oh
scary.
man, it's crazy. It's I'm just
uh,
but we're self-funding this. Everything we have we're putting, that
yeah.
we're paid, we're putting into it. So, when you don't have money, you just go buy a bunch of new equipment. You clean the hand-me-down equipment.
Yeah, you got to it. Yeah, exactly. So, well, for people that aren't familiar with your menu, what's the menu like at the original location, and then how different will it be at Katy, or at least in your mind so far?
So at Voss, we have, of course, we have the standard barbecue.
Yeah.
We're making our sausages now, a mild and a jalapeno, and on Wednesdays we're doing a brat, on a hoagie with grilled onions and grain mustard, house-made grain mustard. So we have a different special kind of every day. Monday's the katsu day. Tuesday rotates between the Cuban and the burger,
Okay.
the smoke burger. And Wednesday is right now is the brat, because we're doing it for October. And then Thursdays, is pastrami Reuben Day, which is still our biggest day.
Is it? Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's our biggest special. And still, after all these years, since 2000, I think 16, it's still our biggest day, which is crazy to me. And then
But that's
Friday,
something people always say. People do say, go to Regals for the pastrami on Thursday. It's a thing.
crazy. Friday, we used to have pastrami beef ribs on special, until beef ribs got so expensive. I mean, it's just ridiculous right now. And, I don't want to buy them in. And, the customers, what we'd have to get, I just don't know if anybody would buy them.
That'd be
And
scary.
they're too expensive to be left with them at the end of the day. And so Alfredo rotates specials on Fridays. Like he'll do pork carnita torta, or he'll come up with something.
Mhm.
Oh, he did the turkey club. The turkey club.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So I think he kind of rotates on Fridays what he does, just to keep it fresh. And Saturdays pork belly bites. And then Sunday we're open 11 to 3, and it's just standard barbecue.
Yeah.
And the new place, Katy will have every single sandwich that we have on special will be offered every day.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So
Even the turkey katsu, the famous.
yeah, yeah. That's the Fletch, who works for us. That's his creation.
I think I had heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, he created that sandwich. So it'll be offered every day. So we kind of, have you seen John Brotherton's Black Iron? Yeah. Okay, so our sandwich, we like how he has all those sandwiches offered every day. But we're doing it also to try to kind of pull in a lunch crowd from Energy Corridor, all those businesses there, and the businesses.
That's smart.
At I-10 and 99, there's a lot of there's medical out there, medical buildings, offices out there, and we're trying to pull a lunch crowd in. And I think being sandwich heavy is going to.
That's smart.
Yeah, we're gonna have a couple of salads on the menu. We're gonna have we're having a full liquor license. So
oh really?
Yeah, frozen drinks and wine. I'm gonna have a nice little selection of bourbon, and we're gonna be open in the evenings there too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, because especially that lends itself to being open in the evenings.
Yeah, okay. We'll be open, I think, till 8. So okay. I met with Sean back earlier this week, and I'm meeting him at the restaurant tomorrow, and he's helping me with my bar program.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, Katy's gonna be fun. It's going to
That's
be a lot of fun, you know, and then we'll do like, you know, soups, so maybe a soup of the day, and we'll probably have some other things on the menu, you know,
so you could be a
and
lot more creative then there.
a lot more creative because we'll have, I didn't realize how many people in Katy actually eat with us in town. And until we put it out on social media, and they're like, "Oh, yay! You know, we'll have to drive so far, or you know, hey,
That's
I'll
I
be able to hit y'all on the weekends too. I hit y'all during the week for lunch, but on the weekends, I'll be able to hit y'all too if I want to." And
oh
I
that's
didn't realize how big of an audience we had, and so it's been really great to see. So, uh, yeah, but we're hoping to, you know, to start out with a fresh menu. It's hard when you have an existing restaurant like Voss and try
mm,
to add, you know, a whole lot of different things because they don't, you know, they've been eating, you know, the
mhm.
same thing for a certain amount of time, and they don't try. Some people will try the new stuff, some people won't.
Yeah, and you want to make sure like if this is like not a fresh start, but it's like a brand. So because it's so brand new, people will be apt to try everything, and you'll get a lot of brand new customers, that people that you had never seen before.
Yeah, we're hoping,
I
you
hope
know,
it. No,
but
you will. I think you will.
it's kind of funny because the new place, House of Pies, is coming next to us.
That's
And
not bad.
they're open 24 hours, and they have breakfast, lunch, dinner menu, but they're known for their pies.
Mhm.
They have a few locations around town. Well, there's a House of Pies right around the corner from us on Westheimer. And then we're next to Cornelius Nursery, Plant Nursery,
Huh.
on Voss. Well, if you look out our back door, you'll see Cornelius is second
Oh,
location. I'm like, we just moved to the same neighborhood just out in Katy.
it's like a duplicate little
Yeah,
neighborhood.
I was like, this is so weird, but you know, so we're glad House of Pies are coming in. You know, we think they'll draw a lot of people. So
Mhm.
hoping, you know, just
Yeah, that crossover, and then also you guys have dessert. Are you guys going to
we
expand
have
your dessert?
urban banana pudding. You know, we've tried other desserts and
It's just
they don't sell compared
that's
to
so
the
funny.
urban banana pudding. You know, and I kind of thought we might add some desserts out in Katy, but when we found out House of Pies is coming, Russell's like, I don't know. He said we may add one thing, you know, one other thing, or maybe a rotating dessert, and that's not a pie, because he was like, you know, House of Pies is coming next to us, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe there's some sort of synergy that could be created with
Yeah,
that.
he was like, I don't care if they come in and eat barbecue and go get a
Yeah,
slice
I
of
don't,
pie.
yeah.
You know, he was like, but
It's a perfect thing. That would be they
yeah,
can eat barbecue and then grab a pie or a slice to
yeah.
go too. Like that's so you guys. And how often do you do whole hog? Is that just
We we were doing it once a month until the pandemic hit,
okay?
and then we stopped. And I think we did it one time during the pandemic. We
Yeah, I
haven't done
thought
it in
so.
a while. Russell just, you know, during the summer, it's so hot. I don't know. I think now that it's cooled down, we'll probably do it. We're definitely going to do it in Katy. We'll do one in Katy. We haven't done one in a while. I think we did one earlier this summer, but we haven't done one.
Are you gonna get a whole hog pit for Katie too,
I
or
know
just
we'll
bring over
bring
the pit?
Wilbur out.
Wilbur, is that the name?
Have you seen the hog cooker? Our hog cooker?
Yeah, but I didn't know they had a name.
Yeah, Wilbur.
They
That's
should.
Wilbur.
They all do. Okay, that's Wilbur. That's lit.
Actually, yeah, and we got Wilbur. We took a trip out to South Carolina, North Carolina. I have family in Georgia.
Okay.
So we flew into Atlanta and then drove to my family's house and stayed with them, and then made our way to Charleston. And we went to Rodney Scott's. We also went to Scott's, the original,
Ah, that's cool.
and to Sweatman's, and we hit a bunch of places, and we were just trying all the different ways out, you know, and the different sauces, and fell in love with mustard sauce. I never thought I would really. I've had some mustard sauces before, and I didn't really like, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mustard,
Same with me.
yeah. And then Russell liked the vinegar sauce.
Which has a kick too. A lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah, and so flew out there to look at. We shut down for 10, 8, 9, 10 day, 9 days to give everybody a vacation. We take our vacation at one time, and we hadn't really made any plans. And he was like, "What are we gonna do?" He was like, "Because you know, if we don't go somewhere, I'm gonna be up at the restaurant, you know, tinkering or doing something, you know, starting a project that more than likely when we open back up is not finished."
That's true.
You know, and I was like, let's do a whole hog run. I planned out the whole thing and I was like, let's do this. We've been talking
Oh,
about
that's
doing
so
it.
fun.
And he was like, okay, let's do it. And we were going out there to look at the BK griller
Oh yeah.
and hog cooker. And the plan was to go look at them. And we were going to drive. And Russell was like, well, we'll just, if I like it, see one I like, we'll just pull it back. And then we got to looking at it. And I was like, we'll have to give 2 days up if we drive. And so we decided to fly out there. Russell was like, I'll just have it shipped.
Yeah.
If I find one I like.
Yeah.
Well, we landed in Atlanta, and when we were driving to my family's house, Larry Lewis called him, Bewley. He had built a hog cooker, and him and Jordan Jackson actually worked on it together, like, you know, and it had been cooked on one time, and that was at Red Dirt. Jordan pigged on it, and then they didn't, and then it ended up coming up for sale. And Larry called him, and Russell's like, oh, you know, he was like, yeah, I've seen that. I saw it out at Red Dirt. And I knew what he was talking about. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and he was like, well, Misty's sitting right here. Let me see what she thinks. And I was like, man, I was like, Larry, every time you call my husband, it costs me about $30,000. You know?
Yeah, you got to block that number.
And Russell was like, well, what do you think? And I was like, I know his product. It's well built. I was go ahead and get it. And he was like, yep. He was like, I'll take it. So, and I'm glad we did, you know, we got it. We cooked on it a few times. We took it back to them. They made some modifications and then brought it back to us. But we've talked about doing some things about it and, you know, with it, cooking on it, live fire, because we got some hooks put in on the top of it so we could hang stuff like, you know. And but we haven't done it yet, so maybe we will in Katy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have that as an option. What was it like going to Scott's, the original Scott's?
Man, that was a cool place. I
haven't talked to a lot of people about that.
Huh?
I haven't talked to a lot of people about going there.
Yeah, it's a, you know, it's a old school little.
It's so cool from the outside.
Not very many seats. Their barbecue was so hot. I think they dumped all the crushed red pepper. And I was like, you know, 3 bites in, and like my mouth has like a red ring around it. And then I'm looking over and seeing these parents with their, you know, 5-year-old kids, and they're just like chowing away at it. I was like, how are you doing that?
Because so they mix it up with this, they sauce it.
Yeah, so that's how we do it. We you know, we chop it up finely until it's kind of like fluffy.
Yeah.
And then you pour the vinegar sauce in there, and then, you know, mix it all together. Yeah. And
I think I've seen some photos of you guys having done that. Okay. And that's I think that's a technique that a lot of them use, but that's funny that it would be so hot, but like the little kids are all eating it.
I mean, like you could see, like it was like just crushed red pepper, and I was like, holy cow, this stuff's good.
I think that's good for people to know. So but it's his location in South Carolina. Was that not that way? Rodney Scott's. Yeah. Do you remember at all?
I'm kind of. It's like you know, very new place, very shiny new, because it's in Charleston.
Yeah,
it was good. We liked Scott's better.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. I don't think that's a disparaging thing to say. Like, I think that people that's the old school.
Yeah, they did have ribs. You know what I did like about that trip is everything there is very simple. You have small, medium, and large on the hog. And, you know, and there's not a lot of places doing whole hog out there.
No.
It's a lot of.
It's a dying.
And I understand why, because the yield on it and the price on it is, you know, it's not really profitable.
Yeah.
You know, and
you have to have the customers, or it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And they don't charge near enough out there for what they should. I think it was Sam Jones who said, he goes, people won't pay over a certain amount, you know, and so that's why he does like the ribs and turkey and stuff to kind of make up for.
Yeah, no, I talked to the owner of Stamey's in North Carolina, and he was saying that when they raised their price from like $3.15 to $3.75 for a sandwich, people were up in arms. Like it was still like, he's like, we should charge $5 or $6, but like it's something that.
Yes, yeah, but it was a great experience. Russell actually went into the pit room of Scott's
Oh,
And I mean, they've just got cookers lined, and they are steadily pumping out. I don't know how many hogs they go through a day, but I know like on their menu it says whole hog, so they have like whole hogs available. Like you can, order a whole hog.
oh, for your, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they have the capacity to like, to do that. We have one cooker. They've got, I don't know how many they have in there, like 10 or
10 or
something like
probably, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Can
yeah.
can you imagine too ordering a whole hog for a party? Like that would be that would be
Yeah.
amazing. That'd be so crazy.
But it's like, you're like on this little dirt road, and there it is.
Wow, that's
you
crazy.
know and Sweatman's was cool. Hold
So
on, let me go get my book. Hold on.
okay, cool. Like that right there shows like the way your mind works.
Huh?
You're very
Yeah,
organized.
like I had it all planned out.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we went to, Sweatman's, Scott's, Rodney Scott's, Skyline Inn, and
That's
Sam.
cool.
Yeah, and then we hit Sam Jones because they're like 7 miles apart. And then we hit, I think that's it.
But right there, that's a nice like they're all different in their own ways.
Oh, we went to a place in Georgia called Papa Bucks.
Pop bucks. Not funny how many little places there are.
Yeah, they actually were featured on Food Network.
I love little finds like that too. It's always nice.
Yeah, it was great. We went to Fox Brothers in Atlanta. That was really good. And
Were either of them there when did you get a chance to see Justin or I forget? Oh, Jonathan.
Jonathan. Yes, Jonathan met us up there.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
showed us around, and showed us his pit room. They use Southern prods, I believe. But just like it's hard when you're out of city limits in a one horse town, per se. You can kind of get away with stuff that in the city we cannot get away with.
Of course, yeah. That's how it is Los Angeles or a lot of the major San Francisco.
Yeah. And it's, they you see this pit room outside, and and everything. And we can't get away with that really in the city.
Yeah.
That's just the pits out there exposed, and we're grandfathered in, but if our place ever for some reason goes down, then that goes out the door, and you have to build to what they want.
Yeah. So are you planning on being, because they're open 7 days a week right now, are you gonna be 7 days?
Yeah. Russell says we pay rent 7 days a week. We're going to be open 7 days a week.
Yeah, I've heard people say we pay for the bills, like the electricity, 7 days a week, so we're open 7 days a week. Okay,
yeah.
So that's a good option for people to know, because Monday barbecue there's not a lot of places that have Monday. It's growing, but not that many. So that'll be a good option. What are you kind of looking at time wise? Like I think I had read December. Is that kind of what you're looking at?
Russell would open it tomorrow if he could.
Okay, well that's probably not gonna happen.
But we're shooting for mid-December, but it may be after the first of the year. I don't know, but the goal is about mid-December.
If you're looking, are you looking? If someone's watching this, are you looking for staff and people? And
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
everyone
we haven't started the hiring process yet.
Yeah.
That worries me a little.
Yeah,
it kind of worries me a little because everybody's so short staffed. Luckily we're on Voss, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that kind of work. I told Russ, I was like, do we want to open right now, because it's so hard to find staff to staff the restaurant right now? And he's like, well, we'll make it work. And I was like,
well, a large smattering of people watch this and listen to these, so because I do podcasts on YouTube, so maybe someone will know somebody who knows somebody, and I'll help you promote if you guys want. First, I post stuff about people needing jobs, so if there's something that I can do to help you, because I know that you want to get staffed up, is that I was trying to think of if it's an interesting time to open a restaurant too in December.
Believe me, I know. I'm like, really? You're gonna try to run Voss in December and open up a new store? I was like, are you freaking crazy?
I was gonna ask, are you going to? So then you kind of intimated, are you going to be more at the Katy location and Russell will be more at the Voss location?
think that might be the plan, and then we'll flip flop too. I right now I work on Monday and Tuesdays up front on at Voss, and I may do that, and then head to Katy and work the evening shift,
Yeah.
and and then stay at Katy for the rest of the week. And then he may be at Voss he'll be at Voss every day, like during the day,
Yeah.
and then head out to Katy after lunch.
Wow. And you've got some friends in the barbecue business that have recently opened second locations, so you could probably pick their brain a little bit.
Oh yeah,
If
oh
you
yeah,
have,
yeah.
it just seems.
Russell's called. He's called John Brotherton. Him. I don't know. They talk all the time. I rarely ever hear him say, "I haven't talked to John in a while."
Yeah, no, their names come
they're
up.
like they should be brothers. I mean, if you were ever around them together, you'd be like, "Yo, you've got to be related somehow."
I could imagine, and like ever since I like started these 3 or 4 years ago, their names have come up so much, especially when it comes to Texas A&M and everything, but also too just a lot of people are friends with them, and they look at them as brothers and people that, and it seems like Russell or John, I've heard stories of like, oh, then they drove this like their pit over blah blah blah, like wow, that's pretty funny. So yeah, he knows too about the having two locations and having different menus at both places. And
yes, and then we've talked to Aaron and Patrick Feeges.
Yeah.
And I've reached out to Robbie Wong with the Blood Brothers.
Yeah. That's an interesting, because that's Bel Air. When you were saying Bel Air, I was thinking that's where they are.
Yeah. And actually, before Russell went and looked at the building, he called Robbie and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to look at this building," and just wanted to let him know.
That's nice.
He was like, "I'm not trying to step on your toes or anything." He was like, "But I am going to go take a look at this building." And Robbie was like, "No, I think that's great. Go look at it." So, but it didn't work out for us. So we were like, okay.
This is exciting. This is such an exciting time. And I've wanted to talk to you for so long. And I think we had written maybe 2 years ago, and we were going to do you and Russell together. I think that was maybe going to happen or something, but this is perfect time because I really want people to know about you and about what is happening with the second location, because
it really is, because this will be the first time that I've ever actually had a hand in creating from the ground up,
definitely
doing this. So
and a lot of the sides are your creation, so are they going to be at the Katy location too?
Yes, and some different stuff too. I've told Fletch, I was like, "Hey, create some sides."
Nice.
Because it was Russell and I for so long until we hired Alfredo, that it was just him and I, trying to figure out specials and stuff. And when Alfredo came along, and once he'd been there for a little bit, I was like, "Dude, make something, create a special." I'm tired of, I'm like, I was like, my brain's fried. I can't think of anything else.
It helps to have someone else's. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then, Fredo's done some stuff off and on the years. And then Fletch came on and he created stuff. And I was like, oh, this is great to have other people instead of, Russell and I sit down racking our brain going, okay, what do we want to make? And how do we make it? And, how do we execute it?
Yeah, no, and it's nice for creativity, and the sausages look really great. That's going to be a lot.
The sausages are really, really good. I'm really happy how they turned out, because Russell and Fletch went out to the sausage class with Bill Dumas, and so they took that class, and then Russell has plans to send Alfredo out there, let him take the class.
That's something that even though I'm just this guy in California, I would love to take his class, because Bill is just he's the master.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm gonna eventually take the class too.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully, I plan to do it once we get the store cleaned up and everything, and I feel like everything's good, and we're just waiting on the pit or other equipment, that I'll go down there for a couple of days and take the class myself too. So
that's cool. That'll be good. It's good. Great knowledge to have, I think.
Yeah, it's Russell likes it, and we'll throw some other sausages out there, but they really wanted to nail down the regular sausage and the jalapeno cheese sausage. Yeah, we were like, what could we do for October, Oktoberfest? And
Mhm.
during October, and I was like, let's do a brat. I was like, do
Yeah.
a brat. And Russell was like, I can do a brat. And so, uh, and he actually Daniel Vaughn was filming at the restaurant for the barbecue club.
Yeah, the behind it, what is it called? Behind, not behind. I forget what it's called, but it's yeah, yeah,
Well, I think
it's in the
it's for the barbecue club or something they've just
Mhm.
created. I don't know. Anyway, he was filming about the katsu and the Reuben. We just happened to roll out the mild sausage and the broth that day, so he got to try them that day, and he really liked them.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah, so that was I was pleased, that he liked them, and all of our customers have liked it. They come up and they were like, "So good, this is so good," and
well,
I'm
it's
like,
probably different from what people have had. So that's, and they look
"Yeah,"
just wonderful. They look
and
so
and
good.
actually, we're selling a lot more of sausage
Oh,
now.
cool. Okay, that's good.
But that we had a big catering job the other day, and and so Russell was like, we were cleaning at Katy, and he was like, I'm gonna have to leave because I gotta go make sausage for this job, because we just didn't have it because they're making it fresh, every few days,
Yeah,
and when you get a job for like 180 people, you don't
yeah.
have that in stock.
No, that's, and so for the holidays coming up, to kind of wrap it up, do people, for Katie will be, obviously you won't be ordering stuff for holidays, but for you guys, are people putting orders in now for Thanksgiving? Is that something you guys are doing?
Well, Russell's about to release our menu,
Okay.
our Thanksgiving menu, and
Oh,
last year, people still weren't doing the gathering thing.
yeah.
They were maybe having 4 or 5 people,
Yeah.
over. So what Russell did, it was super smart, and we sold quite a few of them. And so he took the turkey and he spatchcocked it, and then split it down the
Ah,
middle. And then we sold a whole half turkey.
ah,
So you got the white meat and the dark meat.
that's smart.
And then you could just buy one of those, or you could buy a family meal that came with like dressing, green beans, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, rolls. And a lot of people bought that too. And they were like, this is perfect. Because they didn't want they were like, didn't want just like turkey breast, because they were like, there's some people who like dark
Yeah.
meat. And then they were like, there's just a few of us, and they didn't want a whole lot of turkey left over. So they were like, this is like the perfect option. So we're going to do that again this
Okay,
year.
cool. Okay, that's
And
great to know.
yeah, we're going to do that again this year. And it worked really well. I mean, we'll have so many, and when they're sold, they're sold. But, for people who are like, there are some people families who do a big Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
and then, and a smaller Christmas. And there are some who do a smaller Thanksgiving and big Christmas.
Exactly.
It just depends. Not everybody can get off and get to town, for
Hmm.
both holidays. But so for those people who are just have a little gathering, it's
God,
perfect.
that's a smart idea. That's
Yeah,
ideal.
yeah. Russell was like, "This is what we're gonna do," and I was like, "God, that's so smart." He was like,
Yeah.
"I know."
And I've never, yeah, good for you. Tell them that was smart. I've
And
never heard anybody doing that.
that was a crazy day last year. I didn't work it, but Russell, Fletch, Alfredo, the whole staff, they worked it. And if I went up there, I was just going to be in the way. Sometimes when you in a small kitchen like that, you get too many
You
people
just
in
know,
there,
yeah. Hmm.
and you're all like bumping together, and it's just. But he said everybody, we got a lot of good feedback from it. Everybody enjoyed it. So
So is that something that people would see on your social media, or would it be
yeah,
on the
well,
website?
yeah. So Russell, when we send an email out, we send it through Square, and it automatically goes to social media.
Okay. So should people, is there a sign up on your website for like a newsletter or for alerts? Is there
Yeah, I
anything to like
believe
a,
they can sign up on our website.
yeah, okay. That
Yeah,
way, no, I bet to keep people, if they're in the area and they want that, or
yeah,
they're
or they can
looking,
call the store, and we'll
yeah.
write their email address. That's what I did during the pandemic, because um, I'm sure you followed us during that time, and you
Yeah.
saw all the emails that Russell was putting out like every day, and it came. I told him, he was like, I got to put an email out. I was like, you turned this like into a blog. And he really did. I'm like, this is like, he was putting out how he felt every day, and and people loved it. They would send emails back, keep the emails coming, keep the emails coming, keep us updated. And,
It's important. I
and
think
we
that
did,
you guys are
and
clever
we
about that.
hustled. And that's how, I think that's really how we survived.
I was telling somebody that during that time that I think that was smart that you guys, because then it keeps keeps you out there, keeps you on people's mind, and also shows that you're real.
I need them to know that we are still open 7 days a week. That we're still here, we're still going, and we did it, and we made it, and we were blessed we made it, because
I'm so happy you did. Yeah.
So I mean, not just in the barbecue business, but throughout the everybody's little business, window cleaning business, or whatever.
Yeah, everything
business,
that's tied to
little businesses, big businesses. Some of them had to close up shop.
I know.
And it's really, it was really heartbreaking to see, every time a writer would, write, about, this, here's a list of restaurants that have closed, and
sad.
And you're just like, oh my God. And you just hope your name doesn't end up on that list.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm so
that's
glad.
not the list. And I've been saying this whole time that, the list I want to be on right now is that my store's still open and we need it during this time.
And that you're on someone's mind to come visit and eat and enjoy. And
yeah,
definitely. Well, thank you, Misty, so much for taking the time. We could have probably talked for 3 more hours. Honestly, it's like maybe we'll do a part 2. Maybe as we get closer to the Katy opening, maybe I can check in. That would be. Have a great day. Thanks so much.
You too.
All right, take care.